Okay, drone video for a beautiful property at Bobcat Hollow, 5.276 acres. This is a survey property. We're looking east from over the easement road. We'll go up in a minute. I'm sure we'll go up and we'll see this from the air. Looks like there's a small open area that goes back in, and then you've got cedar trees, you've got hardwood trees. Looks like it happens to be pretty windy. Whatever day this drone video was taken. This is already looking like an early spring drone video. Maybe about half of the leaves are out on the trees, but that gives us a good chance to really look at this property. You can actually see the ground a little bit when it's still early spring, which is great. Okay, so as we look down, we're actually facing east. You can see the open area. Looking at the topo map, this whole part we're looking at, which is the west side of the property, was all once an open meadow, and then it just basically started growing up decades ago, and now you've got quite a few cedar trees on that west side. So now we're looking straight east over the property. It goes all the way to that creek bed that you see off in the distance. So it's the highest on the west end. It stays level for quite a ways as you go east, and then it eventually starts to slope down as you get to that creek bed. And of course it would be the lowest in the creek bed. It's going to be a wet weather creek. The guys actually walked out to it the day they took this drone video, and it was not running. So they said it's beautiful. There's some cool rock features and the places where it's gravel bottom and places where it's a rock bottom creek bed, but it wasn't running when they were out there. So not a year-round creek, but it's definitely been there a few thousand years. I mean, you don't get a gravel creek bed that's not a few thousand years old, so it definitely does run off and on at different times throughout the year, I'm sure. Okay, so in a minute I think we could do a full flyover here and we'll get a good look at this. I believe the truck is parked about in the middle. This looks like about 300 feet of frontage on that easement road along its west side. We're flying easterly, and I think the truck is parked about in the middle of the easement road frontage, but I'm not positive about that. As we look down at the west side, you can see it's basically all wooded other than that small open area. Quite a few cedar trees on the west side, and looks like some hardwood trees as well. And then once we get in a few hundred feet beyond where the old meadow used to be, I believe it transitions to mostly hardwood trees. So these tracts at Bobcat Hollow were logged a few years ago, and some parts were heavily logged, some parts were not touched at all, and everything in between. This is a recent drone video, so this is showing you exactly how the property does look. We've got some trails, obviously, you can see those. Whoop! And then we hit the gas on the drone. This is an interesting tract as I look at the topo map. Level by the road. As you go back in, it stays level, then it slopes down and back up. You can see that valley over on the right. We're looking southerly, and then it rises up and levels again, and then it slopes down to the creek bed, finally on the east side. I kind of hope we get down and get a look at that creek bed, because a real Ozark creek bed is really pretty cool. You're going to have all kinds of fossils and rocks and whatnot. The drone that he's using doesn't have any kind of zoom. Most drones don't. And so you can't really zoom down. Okay, so now we're basically over the creek bed, and we're looking back to the west. We're more or less looking toward the sun right now. The sun is shining into the camera, so that's why all the tree trunks look so dark all of a sudden. That's what happens when you face the sun with the drone. And as we go back westerly, there's that little valley area we talked about. Rises up, and then bam, you can see right where that old meadow used to be. So this area that we're looking at all here on the west side was at one time either a meadow or a pasture. So potentially you could, I mean, you'd need a bulldozer to do it, but you could bring it back to meadow or pasture. You can talk to us for details on clearing trees, but we can get you written permission in many cases to do that, even before the property is paid for, but you do have to contact us. Oh, I was going to say, as we look to the south, property on the left, gorgeous tract, very private. The creek bed's a nice bonus. You've got building areas, you've got the old meadow area, which is cool. The deer and turkey are phenomenal. You're close to Bryant Creek. You're close to the National Forest. Anyway, just check out the website at InstantAcres.com to see details. Special property that will probably sell fairly quickly because we don't get very many that kind of have everything this one has. So check out the website. If you have any questions, just let us know.